honored that he's come today to speak with us. Let's show him our best flyer manners. We're going to be sitting, listening. At the end, there is going to be an opportunity to speak with him and ask him questions. Remember, a question is asking something. We're not doing statements where we're telling him something unless he's asked. So, what is an appropriate way to sit? We're sitting all the way flat on our bottoms so the people behind us can see. Let's do one quick star breath before we get started. Stop. Take a deep breath. And relax. Let's give him a round of applause and welcome to CZAR.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Good. Did y'all watch the Super Bowl? Yeah. Who are Chiefs fans? Me. Yeah. A lot, huh? Who are Niner fans? Yeah. Yeah. I'm a 49er fan. I'm a 49er fan, so I have to be. I was really sad because I didn't want to. All season long, I said, there's one team I don't want to face, and that's the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is that guy. He is awesome. He's a baby goat. Absolutely a baby goat. I did. And where I want to go with that is that even though that my team lost, I had no control over that. No control over if the team that I wanted to win was going to win or not. I had no control over that. Okay? So I always try to focus on things that I can control. So I'm superstitious, and superstitious people are controlling. And I wanted to control what I could control. I said, I want to watch the game by myself. So I can yell at the TV, whatever, because I can control that. The outcome I could not, right? So we want to worry about things that we can control and less about things that we cannot. Because if we worry more about the things that we cannot control, it'll affect what we can control, okay? So please remember that. That self-control is so important, really understanding your situations in life. All right, I just wanted to start off with that, get your attention. And I had to be resilient afterwards. I had to come speak to another class yesterday after the Super Bowl, and I had to get over that. So what I like to talk about is resiliency, being able to bounce back from hardship. It's such every day we're going to go through conflict, and we have to figure out a way to get up and go on with our day. And sometimes we need help, and we need to be able to find out what our limits are and what those next steps would be, okay? And overall, my briefing is about hope. But I like to start off with how the journey is better than the end, okay? And what I mean by that is when it gets hard, that is part of the journey. Getting up for school when you don't want to go to school, that is part of the journey. But guess what? You are all here. You're all here paying attention, being at school. That is something to be proud of. All those little things are things that you should be proud of that you accomplished throughout the day. And that's what we talk about in sports and what I do. We talk about stacking wins. You know, count all those little wins, and those little wins end up being the big wins. Okay? So always think about those things. All right? By the way, I'm Coach CZAR, and let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm from California. I was born in Hawaii, but I grew up in the Philippines and California. My dad was a military man. He was in the Air Force for 22 years, and I traveled a lot. And I went to a lot of different schools. I went to poor schools, military schools, which had more money, more funding. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen poverty. I've seen, good places of towns. I've been all over. And what I want to know is, what I want to tell you is that no matter what your situation is, you have an opportunity to be great, to do what you want to do. Because that's all we always have. We always have an opportunity. No matter what situation we're in, we have to find a way to get to where we want to be. And that's what I kind of want to talk about today. All right. And just a little bit more about myself. I played sports throughout my life, and that's what taught me about winning and losing, about the journey. I enjoyed practices more than the games because I was with my friends. I was learning. The games you just play, and the end goal is to win, right? But the practices is where you learn, and school is basically practice. You're practicing how to get along, how to follow directions, how to get up every day, get dressed, and be self-sufficient, and not be a positive influence on everyone else in your community. I played 1 year junior college football, and then I struggled at school. It was totally different. High school was easy, and that's another thing. If it's easy, you're not really growing. You're not challenging yourself. So when I got to college, it was very difficult. And that's where I grow the most, is when I fail. Okay, so don't be afraid to fail. That's where you learn the most. Fear of failure is going to cause you to paralyze and overthink things and not execute the way you want to. Okay? Then I went on to a 4-year school, graduated, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was terrified. Like, oh man, I don't have the background of the military saving, with medical, I'm not going to get help with school anymore. I have to figure it out by myself. And that's part of the thing also. I thought I had to do it myself. We don't have to do this by ourselves. We have people that we can talk to. But ultimately, I decided to do what I was always around, was join the military. And that was a pretty good decision for me because it gave me a career. I got to see many different places. My first duty station was Oklahoma. I got here in 2003, and it's grown a lot since then. And I've come back and forth to Oklahoma, and it's been a great time in Oklahoma. I've learned a lot here. And I retired in 22, and I'm excited for what the future holds. I have no idea. I don't know what's going to unfold, but I'm just going to live day by day and keep shooting for the stars. All right. So what I want to talk about is hope, right? So like I said, when you fall down, you have to get back up. What makes you get back up, right? You got to have hope. And here's the definition of hope: to cherish a desire with anticipation, to want something to happen or be true. I hope the 49ers would win. That did not happen. But I knew that, they played well, and I just know Patrick Mahomes is just that guy. And I understand that. So I understood that. But I know there's still hope because they're a young team and there's next year. Hopefully they learn that they need to score a touchdown instead of field goals. They need to improve their special teams, lessen the mistakes that they made in the game. And those are things that happen that you should be learning from, right? That you can get better, to have hope that the outcome, if I work hard for it, the outcomes that I want will happen. Okay? It's innate in you. It's natural. When you're a baby, you want to learn how to walk. You're not scared you don't even think about being afraid. You just get up and try to walk, and you fall down multiple times. First you start to crawl, then you grab on the couch, and you walk along the couch, and then you let go, and you try to be free. You're not afraid. You fall down. And when you fall down, you probably have your parents there or someone that love you and pick you back up. And it's not, you're not afraid of failing there. You're just not. And it's something that you want to do. And I want to show you this clip right here, and I'm going to hit play. That kind of signifies what I want you to kind of understand. All right, so right there is basically the same thing as when you were a baby, right? When you're a baby, you're trying to figure out and learn new things, and you're not afraid. And then also, one of the biggest keys there is he's not alone. He's got Thumper there and all his friends helping him up, encouraging him, right? That's a community. That's family. That is so important for you to find that team of yours that you can talk to and surround yourself with like-minded people to help you pick yourself back up when things get hard. It is so important to have that team. And everyone's journey is going to be different, but I really urge you to find that team, that family member that you can always talk to that's not ever going to judge you. It's so important. And Bambi had that right there from the very beginning. And we have that as children with our parents growing up. Everything we do is great. Nothing we do is not cute or frowned upon. And as we get older, something happens. Society kind of takes over. Social media, being in school, being around the community, those types of things can start affecting the way we feel and think about ourselves. But we got to have that hope that, hey, it'll get better if I work hard at it. And that's what we want to always think about. So regardless, we want to hope, dream, and have goals. Goals of getting to where we want to be, where we want to get to. How do we do that? How do we do that? And I'm here to try to help you learn how to do that. By deliberate practice, okay? And having hope. Deliberately practice having hope. How do I do that? What is deliberate practice? If you play sports, you go to practice and you learn something, all right? And people talk about, you got to do it again until you get it right. Well, sometimes that practice will work when you get it, but deliberate practice is doing something where you're at the edge of failure and you still keep going. That's where you actually learn and try to solve that problem. So you want to put yourself in situations where it's hard. It's no different than being in the weight room. When someone tries to lift 225 pounds and they don't get it the first time, and they work harder for a couple of weeks, and then they try it again. That is deliberate practice. So when you're learning a subject at school and the teacher gives you a problem and you try to solve it for the first time and you fail, that is deliberate practice because you're not good at it. Okay? And then they give you another one and you fail. Deliberate practice. But that's okay. That's why you're here. This is a learning environment. So when you come to my facility, that's what I want athletes to understand too. This is a learning environment. You're allowed to fail here. You're allowed to ask questions. You're allowed to mess up. It's not your sporting team. It's not the football coach yelling at you for not getting it right, and you're afraid that he's going to replace you with someone else. Okay? I'm not replacing you with anyone else in the facility. It's all on you to get it done. All right? And I'll do whatever I can to make sure that you have the correct tools to get it done. All right? And so also, that's another thing. Hold your teachers accountable. If you don't understand something, they're not explaining it to you correctly, learn to communicate that. That helps the teacher out more instead of just sitting there being afraid to speak up. Okay? We want you to be able to communicate and let us know how you feel. Go outward because we can't read minds. Okay? All right. And then we want to pair the deliberate practice with small habits. We call that atomic habits, right? Small habits that you can do easily, okay? It's just like learning the alphabet. How do I learn the alphabet? A to Z as a young child, We make it a habit. We learn a song and we sing it, Does everyone know how to do their ABCs? I'm sure they do. Who knows how to sing it? Everyone, right? And that is a small habit that we learn how to do our ABCs, singing the song. Okay? Brushing our teeth should be a habit. And our brain is so good at automation. What that means, it's automatic. Learning how to walk, it's automatic now. One step over the other. Our brain learns how to automate things. So if we make it a habit, our brain's going to automatically just do it. Okay? Because we know it's what we have to do. Just like eating, drinking water, breathing. You don't think about breathing at all. Okay? It's automatic. Nope. Keep going the wrong way. All right. So, And I want to go with that with make sure that you pair all those things together and make sure that you set up goals on how to get there. But we don't do it alone. But we want to have the tools to be able to do that. And the first one is ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of anyone else. In the military, they teach us on the airplane, when things go bad and the cabin pressure sound comes on, we have to put our oxygen mask on before we do anything else because we have to be able to function. We have to take care of ourselves. If we are not able and fit to do our jobs on the airplane, people can die. So we want to be able to put that mask on and take care of ourselves before we can help everyone else. And they'll tell you that also when you fly a commercial airplane. Put your mask on first before you take care of your child. And that's very hard to do, okay? But it's very important. Self-care, self-maintenance starts with you. It starts about learning what you like to do and what you don't like to do. And again, all of that takes practice. All of that takes learning yourself and failing. Learning that, hey, I don't like doing that. And that's okay. That is not failing. Doing something and finding out that you don't like to do that, that is winning. That is a success. Please do that, okay? The next thing is your family. You need to find your family as a resource to help pick you back up and help guide you to where you want to be. And that is so important. And I understand me growing up, I did not have a lot of people that I can actually talk to in my house. My dad was, you do this because I said so. He's a military guy. And I was just always the good soldier. And I would say, yes, sir, I'll do it. And my mom was very quiet. And, she spoke a different language, so our communication was not the best. But she was always there for me. And I could always lean on her for things. But I didn't really talk to her about my problems. And I urge you to have family or friends. Find people that you can actually trust, that is not going to judge you and help you get to where you want to be in your life. Friends is a great tool. So I have my friends help me out in my 8th grade year. When I was in 8th grade, my dad was in the military. He sent us back home to California, and I didn't have my dad with me that whole 8th grade year until like the last month. And during that time, I wasn't supposed to have friends over the house. I was babysitting my brothers. Like, no one's allowed in the house while your mom's at work. Well, I had friends over, and if I didn't have those friends over, if I didn't break that rule, I don't know how I would have turned out. Okay, I probably would have been a lot sadder, more depressed, and my quality of life would have been really, really low. So it really matters that you have good friends that you can talk to, hang out with, communicate, and just vibe with. Okay. Next is your community. You and your friends should be a part of the community. And what do I mean by that? As a child, I don't expect you to just go out and start working and serving, but you can. You can serve by playing in your sports, holding yourself, being honorable, conducting yourself in a manner that makes yourself proud, to make your community proud. You could do those things every day by being a kind person. Kindness always wins out. Okay? I urge you guys to do that, especially in your sports and teams and extracurriculars. Does that make sense? All right. And then finally, when things really get hard, professional resources, right? Your teachers know where those resources are. And your teachers are part of the community. Okay? It is so important to understand where your help is coming from. And when you struggle with that, go to these areas. I suggest making this a checklist. Myself, my family, my friends, my community, and then, my teachers are part of the community, and then my professional resources. How do I get to those things? Okay? Times do get hard when we want to be able to do that. Okay? So, and again, what I always like to say is the journey is better than the end, right? So when you set up your goals and you know what you want to do and it gets hard, don't quit. Do not quit. When it gets really hard, I like to tell people, if it gets hard, you're probably close to winning. When you get hard, success is probably right over that failure, that valley, okay? Our lives are filled with peaks and valleys, but we want to try to level them off as much as we can. And how do we do that? Again, with the steps that I just talked about. Really practicing how hard life is, having a team, and hitting it every day, and picking yourself up and having hope. Okay? And finally, what I like to say also is find an excuse to win. You know, what does that mean? A lot of times it's just a mindset. A lot of times we always, I'll tell you some adult problems. I'm calling the doctor or trying to get a prescription from the pharmacist. Hey, it says my prescription's not in. Oh, you're in the wrong department. You got to call this number. Come on, man. I'm talking to you. You can't help me out? Nope. Go to this person. Fine. Click. All right. Now I got to call another person. Nope. You got to call this person. Nope. All right. I want one of those people to just find an excuse to win. Find an excuse to help me. Help me out so I can get off the phone and go on my day. But it also bounces back on me. Right? I could just quit and say, you know what, never mind. I'm not going to call for my prescription and go without it. I have to find an excuse to do it. Hey, I need to go. I actually have to find the right person. And then I have to say, how do I avoid this problem of having to play phone tag? How do I avoid that problem? Actually finding how the process works. I have to learn that, you know? So it's not just blaming other people and saying, hey, man, help me out. It's about what can I do to help you out? Those things matter. You know, find an excuse to win. And the same thing on the airplane when I was in the military. They would teach us, hey, when the airplane's going to go down, you don't quit. You don't stop working. You do what you're supposed to do till the very end. Okay? Find an excuse to win. And I'll show you this clip right here. It's one of my favorite clips. It's a clip from a movie, the beginning scenes of Lone Survivor, a military movie, but I'll play it and you'll see. And for those Navy SEALs, what they talk about with those guys, a lot, they ask, what type of people make it through Navy SEAL training? It's not the fittest guy. It's not the strongest guy. It's not the biggest guy. It's usually the wiry, skinny kids that make it through, fresh out of high school. And it's because they don't quit. They find an excuse to win. They really just don't give up, no matter how hard it gets. And that is some intense training. And what they do is they deliberately practice putting you on that edge to fail. And they want to see if you can make it through. Will you quit? That is literally what they're trying to do. And the guys that make it, they don't quit. And I urge you to not quit in whatever you're doing. Okay? All right. I'm going to figure out how to use this thing. Wrong way. Oh, there we go. So again, I'm Coach CZAR. I own CZAR Athletics. Me and my wife back there. She's my partner in crime, my road dog. I can't do anything without her, so I want to thank her there and give her shout out. So what I do is I coach athletes to seize their goals, right? And when I talk about their goals, it's not just theirs, right? It's a team. It's their sports coach, it's their parents, it's themselves. And then what I try to do is find out what their end result that they want, and then I go backwards and find out where they are, and I create a roadmap to get there. And it's funny because that's what I did in the Air Force. I was a navigator. My job was to get us from point A to point B on time, on altitude, and on speed. Okay, those are the things that we try to do as well here. And we do that by providing individualized training. And my biggest thing, when you walk through my doors, it says on my doors, be unafraid of failure. Because life is full of them. And when you fail, that means you're close to winning. I'm telling you, you have to learn from those. It is not a failure if you learn from it. It is a failure if you just quit. Okay? So I urge you not to do that. All right? Thank you for having me. I got time for questions. Any questions for me? Be shy.
Okay, so what's the point of trying to die?
If I die anywhere on the airplane,
Yeah, what's the point of trying?
if I try my best, even though I'm gonna perish with my team, I'm not. My last moments of my life is I'm trying to save everyone else. It's not me just quitting, right? Before that time goes, I know I left everything I had while I was still breathing.
Have you ever did like the pepper spray thing with your eyes?
No, I did, but I did do some what's that called? Gas training,
Oh, like when you talk to your gas?
where I had to take off my gas mask and
Yeah, and talk and do something.
it was not fun. No, it smells bad. Yes, ma'am. Huh? I'm 46. I'm sorry, what? What high school did I go to? In California, Vanden High School. Vanden High School. We won state champs last year in football. How did I decide to go to the military? I was afraid of graduating college. So I wanted to be a physical therapist at first. And then it's a funny story. I wanted to be a physical therapist at first. And I was doing the internship for it. So I was, working for free, learning how to be a physical therapist. And an amputee came in. An amputee is someone that's missing a limb. And they had amputated the bottom part of his leg below the knee. And it was fresh. And the doctor looked at it and said, "Oh, that's healing up nicely." And he moved his leg and he was slapping, the nub. And I started to sweat. I said, "Oh no, I can't do this." I almost passed out. So that's when I found out I cannot be a physical therapist. But as I continued school, I said, "Well, I'm so deep into this. What can I do with this degree?" So I went into exercise science and coaching. Learning about how to train people, how to lift weights, and how to open up a gym facility. In the back of my mind, I didn't know that's what I wanted to do. It's just what led me there, what my heart would take me there. But mentally, I was so afraid to do that, I just joined the military, right? But it's still, again, I could look at that negatively. I could say, "Oh, I wasted 20 years. I did not waste 20 years. I served my country. I gave back to my community, and I learned so much from it. And what I learned there has helped me with my business, to help me coach and teach other people. Okay, so that's a great question. I was in the Air Force. I was a navigator in the Air Force. I flew on the E3 down there at Tinker with the big old dome. That's what I flew. Yes, sir. The E3. It's a Boeing 707. It's that big plane with the big old dome on the top. The AWACS. They call it the AWACS also. Any other questions? No, I have not been shot. Thank goodness. I was in Jordan, Amman, Jordan. That's in the Middle East, and this is during the time of ISIS. And we're in the tri-border area, and I would work off base and I would not have a weapon. I was nervous every time I'd go off base. I did not have an armored car, so that's why I have PTSD. And every time I'd get off, go back on base after work, they would search my car thoroughly. I'm like, if you have to search this car that thoroughly, and I don't have any weapons on me, man, this is not cool. Right, and that's just how it goes. They don't have enough money to fund everyone to have body armor on your car.
Where did you actually do the war at?
Where? So most of my job was in the Middle East. So I would be stationed out in Qatar or the UAE, and I would do our missions out of there. And one time I had a cool mission. I was in Greece. That was almost like a vacation during the time of Libya. And we'd fly out in the Mediterranean and fly for like hours and just control the airspace. That's what we did. We controlled the airspace. We wanted to make sure that everyone coming in and flying over those countries or whatever were supposed to be there. So we would protect the airspace.
Have you went to war before?
Yes. Yes.
What country?
Afghanistan, Iraq. Yeah. Flew over those.
Last question. Have you seen a tank with the chains on it and it spins?
And what?
Have you seen the tank with the chains on it front and it spins?
No. No, I've not.
I've seen it all over.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have like a gym?
I do. I have a gym up in Piedmont. Yeah. And I train youth, a lot of athletes, not just youth athletes. I do. I do take kids. And what we like to teach them is the same thing what I just taught. To fail, to pick yourself back up, and to rely on yourself to get the job done. Right? And you can do it. And you do that every day. You do that at school. You know, no one does your homework for you. You do. I hope no one does your homework for you. Any other questions? Any questions from the faculty? Yes.
What's a good exercise for kids this age to do?
This age to do, it would be always, a good exercise for them would always to be to squat, hinge, and split squat. So always up and down. A split squat? So I'll show you a squat first is, what I would teach them is just to squat, feet shoulder width apart, hands out in front, all right? Be tall, and then hinge back, bend your ankles, knees, and hips, keep your chest up high, down, and then back up, all right? That's a squat. You could do that with zero weight, and you will get a good workout because you want to be able to move.
How many push-ups can you do?
How many Oh, I don't know. It's been a while. The most I can do is 117, I think, when in 2005. That's a long time ago. I ain't doing no push-ups. You do push-ups. Actually, I have one more thing it's for the teachers. I want to thank all the teachers for what they do. John Wooden is a coach that was and a teacher. He was an English teacher, and he read a lot of poetry. And I'd like to read something for the teachers. Let me get it. People ask me how I got into coaching. I've always liked to help people. So I had a little brother, and I had an older brother, and he never wanted me around. He was like, buzz off, dude. These are my friends. And I always wanted to hang out with them. I was into sports. That's what they did. They played sports. And a lot of times I wasn't good enough to get picked, all right, because I was just so much younger. I was 4 years younger, and I would struggle all the time. And I was like, man, I wish somebody would teach me. Right, so then I had a little brother that started to play sports. I said, oh, what a great opportunity. Now I have a running mate. I have a person that I can play basketball with that's going to know how I play. So I try to teach him, right, and his friends. And so I would do that. And what I learned is that gave me a lot of joy, a lot of showing someone how to do something, and they go off and do it on their own and make it their own. And I'd like to thank all the teachers for what they do, and I'd like to read this poem. They had asked the teacher why she teaches, and she said, I don't know. Let me get back to you on that. And she went back and wrote a poem, and the poem is named, They Asked Me Why I Teach. They asked me why I teach, and I reply, where could I find more splendid company? There sits a statesman, strong, unbiased, wise, another later Webster, silver-tongued. And there a doctor whose quick, steady hand can mend a bone or stem the lifeblood's flow. A builder sits beside him. Upward rise the arches of a church he builds, wherein that minister will speak the word of God and lead a stumbling soul to the touch of the Christ. And all about a lesser gathering of farmers, merchants, teachers, laborers, men who work and vote and build and play and pray into a great tomorrow. And I say, I may not see the church or hear the word or eat the food their hands will grow, and yet I may, and later I may say, I knew the lad, and he was strong or weak or kind or proud or bold or gay. I knew him once, but then he was a boy. They ask me why I teach, and I reply, where could I find more splendid company? And that's basically why we do it. You know, we hope that all of you go out and create new things, make this place a better world. And then when we see you later, when you're grown, we'll be able to say, I knew him. I knew her. I knew her. She was in my class. You know, she was such a joy to teach. You know, and that's why we do it. At least that's why I do it. And I hope that's why a lot of the teachers do it as well. So again, I'd like to say thank you for all of that, for your time. And if you have any last questions, please ask. I've ridden in one. I've not drive one, but I got to fly on some cool airplanes. No, not an airplane gun, but I got to shoot weapons. Just a 9mm. The craziest gun I shot? No, I've only shot a 9mm. That's not crazy. But I had a messed up one though that wouldn't shoot straight.
When you were on like a helicopter or a plane, did you ever drop like nuclear bombs or something?
No. But I've seen bombs get dropped. I've seen plenty of bombs get dropped. Yes, sir, in the hat.
Have you ever seen an H-130?
Yes. Yes, I have. I had buddies that flew on those. Yes, we have dogs in the military. No, they are not nice. No, they do their jobs. Say that again. The hardest plane to control? Man, my guess, I don't know. That's actually a good question. That's personal. For some people, flying that airplane is easy. And for some people, it's hard, right? And the people that struggle doing it, that want to do it, they still succeed. There's a lot of pilots that wanted to fly fighter planes, right? That's usually the cream of the crop. But they all can't be fighter pilots. You know, sometimes they end up over here at Tinker and they have to fly the big fat planes. And that's not glamorous or whatever, but they're still doing the job. They still have hope that one day, hey, I'll get good enough at this that I'll go on and fly the jets that I do want to fly. Okay? So that's very personal. And you want to be able to just do your best at whatever you're doing. Okay? Am I rich? I'm rich with family and friends, yes. You, sir. Yeah, you had your hand up. Say that again. Airstrikes? Yes, I didn't do them, but I helped make them happen. Yes. Yes, plenty of airstrikes. And I can't even talk about all of them because it's classified. Huh? I've not ever flown a jet, but I've flown an airplane, but not a jet. I've flown one of those propeller jet planes. Any other questions? No. That's it? You in the back. Huh? Have I ever shot airplanes? No. No, my airplane did not have weapons. But we would get lit up by, so we would fly in Afghanistan, right? So Afghanistan has lots of mountains, right? So the higher the mountain, the closer they are to us. And sometimes the enemy would put up what we call a SAM, a surface-to-air missile, on that mountain, and it could almost reach us. So we would get lit up by those. That was scary. So yeah, that's happened a couple of times. Orderly. Orderly. Thank you. I truly appreciate your time. Thank you for what you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Truly appreciate it. Again, thank you for all that you guys do. It matters. I know it doesn't get